Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast. I'm Ten Types, as always, joined by Uncommon Fossil.
Hello, pleased to be here and looking forward to talking some Pokemon.
Yep, and we are talking about the new expansion of Battle Partners or Journey Together. These are not the same. Journey Together is the international set that will be coming out in March, the end of March with rotation, and then Journey or Battle Partners is the Japanese set with 100 cards. So Journey Together is bigger than that, and there are cards from the EX starter decks, which are going to be in this set. There's Blaziken EX and Lilligant. Those are two of those cards. And there might be some other cards. I'm not entirely sure. But ultimately, the main cards are from the set. And this is introducing trainers Pokemon, which are Pokemon with trainers in their names. Nothing super crazy, but we'll be talking about those later. There's some of them, but there are lots of cards in the set that aren't related to trainers Pokemon. And Uncommon Fossil, how much of the set, because you don't pay as much attention to newer card reveals, so how much do you know about this set?
Not that much. I mean, I've been aware of it, but we just got the at the time of recording, like a couple days ago, the Prismatic Evolutions just dropped, so I'm still trying to figure that out. So this is a future world, and actually, when we were talking the prep, you had to remind me that when these cards drop, rotation happens because I was thinking how it paired with pre-rotation cards, which obviously is a mistake.
Yeah, rotations exactly with these. So I don't know about in Japan, but I think that's the case. Regardless, there's a bunch of cards. You're gonna start at the top. There are also some promos we'll talk about, or like one promo. But what do you want to start with? Because I don't really want to talk about.
All right, so
there's one of these grass Pokemon I want to talk about, maybe two.
Maractus would be the first one, and maybe the only grass one that I need to talk about.
Okay, so what do you have to say about Maractus?
So a basic Pokemon, single prize, that's always great. I always love Maractus with the coin flipping, so I'm always hoping it's another big coin flip card. It's not, although there's a bunch of coin flip cards in this set, probably more than I would like to see. So it's got this attack for 1 energy. It's colorless, so it works in any deck. It does 20 damage, and your Pokemon can't retreat. We're going to lose Mawile, right, which is a colorless can't retreat card. This does 20 damage, which is a negative, and we lose double turbo energy, so we're always doing the damage, I think. But it's a stall card for any deck of any type, which is just a good thing to be aware of. And then it's got the ability, Bursting Needle. I don't know if the names are correct, right, because these aren't the official translations, I don't believe. If it's in the active spot and knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 6 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So we can do some stall, 1 energy, it's a basic, and then put 6 damage counters on if we're knocked out. So we can, and obviously we can do this a bunch of turns in a row with the idea of getting something stuck to get that type of stall style win. So, it's always something to keep in mind is what I'll say.
Yeah, but I think there are a bunch of Pokemon like this. I'm not super familiar with them. The main ones are obviously Wellspring Grass. Ogerpon EX is played. That does also need double turbo energy. It has more HP. Doesn't have this ability, which I don't even know if this ability is necessarily good for control-based trapping game plan. It could be good. It could be bad. Depends on the circumstances. And then you also have your 2 prizer there. So now your 1 prizer here. So different things going on. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's not the most interesting card from the set. Definitely not. That would be bad. But it's kind of interesting. Then the next card I want to talk about, I don't think there's anything more to say about that, right?
No, that's enough. It's just a card to keep in mind. It's on my radar.
Yeah, there are a lot of cards like it, and we don't need to go into all of them. But then we have Excelgor, which is kind of interesting. We talk about this later. So there was a deck, I believe in the black and white era, which was also Excelgor, that was better. But this one does for grass colorless. You do 70 your opponent's actives now confused and poisoned. You switch with one of your bench Pokemon, and it's hit and run. There was an Excelgor like this kind of in the black and white era, but it paralyzed, which is better, and it was 2 colorless, so that was also better.
Yeah.
But theoretically, you could use reversal, and I think we'll come back to this card later. But
yeah, no, you're right. This one was on my list too. I forgot this was a grass one as well. So I always like hit and run, and obviously the confusion isn't bad. But like you said, paralysis is much better. But it's something. Yeah, and 2 energies is awkward as well, right? So we got to power it up. But it's definitely it's an interesting card to me.
Yeah, you have reversal, which is okay. It's not amazing. You have like Teal Master upon the X plus energy switch, which is again okay, but kind of awkward. Not the hardest, but obviously not super easy either. Then we
Right.
have this Meowscarada, which is kind of interesting. Its ability lets you switch it into the active um, once every turn, and then your attack for 2 colors does 90 or 180 to an EX. It can one shot Charizard. It's fine. I mean, it's nothing amazing, but there's a Meowscarada EX. If you want to play that, you can play this as well. Probably don't play that. Double colorless energy is kind of important, or double turbo is kind of
Right.
important to that. There's no similar effect. There's Neo upper energy, but that's an A spec.
Yeah, I mean the downside is look, it's a stage two, which I don't love. I don't you don't love that either. It can switch into the active, which could be nice also against like stall control decks. But the retreat cost is one. If I had a retreat cost of 0, then I'd be more interested because I can use as a pivot every turn. That doesn't work as that. And the attack cost is 2, and without we losing double turbo, so now I got to get 2 grass energy on it. So if you want to play Fortress EX and power it up, I'm all for it. But I think you're going to say that's a bad plan. So, getting the extra energies on a grass Pokemon, I don't love as well.
It's okay. Not amazing, but it's something you could talk about, and some people might like. Then for fire, we actually have there are only a few fire cards. There is an ends card, but we're going to talk about that later. But then there's the burn stuff. So Magma Water is a stage 1, and it says during Pokemon checkup, you put 3 more damage counters on burn. If you don't actually know how burn works, during Pokemon checkup, which is between each turn, your opponent. Well, first of all, the burn Pokemon takes 20 or takes 2 damage counters, but now it would be 3 more. So 5, and then they flip a coin, and if tails, they remain burned. Burn has gone through at least one change. It might have gone through a few. I honestly don't remember, but regardless, that's how it works. So it's guaranteed at like 30 extra damage here. Um,
Right.
you'll start off with the 20 extra, then add 30 more on top of that. And the Volcanion EX says once during your turn, if it's in your active, you may make your opponent's active burned. So obviously intended to be paired together. It's a pretty underwhelming to mediocre attacker. I'd say I know it's quite bad, especially without Magma Basin, but obviously its ability could be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly noticed this when I was going. I noticed all of them, and this one obviously I paid some attention to, and I assume it stacks, right? It doesn't say it doesn't stack, so that's if you're
Oh, the Magma Water. Yeah.
right. The magma, what they call magma surge ability, the extra 3 damage counters. So you're putting 5 damage counters or 50 at the end of your turn, 50 damage in essence
Yeah,
is what
with
it's
just one.
with one. So then you get a couple. You get 3. You get all 4 down, 120. I'm doing what 140 damage, right? So but I'm probably not filling my bench with them. And then I was thinking you probably play the Magmortar as its own deck. It's 90 damage. You have to power it up with what reversal energy, right? Is that the right one?
Ye-
It counts
Yeah.
as 3 energies, right? And that's in format, right? As
Yeah.
long as you're behind it.
I feel like this like isn't well. Okay, I'm gonna.
Well, how else are you going to power it up? You're going to play
Well, no, but why are
reversal.
you trying to attack with it? Because its attack is for 3, you do 90. Then on a coin flip, you burn, but you don't even always get the burn. So
That's
I feel like if you
true.
always got the burn, it would be like okay, but not even great.
But the other option is you say is that I guess it's meant to be played with Volcarona, right? Which is but
Yeah,
the problem.
Volcanion.
Oh, Volcanion, thank you, Volcanion EX, because that guarantees the burn. But its retreat cost is 3, and its attack isn't great, right? So
You know, its attack's kind of bad. I'd say like you could use it in. I don't know what Pokemon do burn, to be honest. I think I can actually look in the Limitless database. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sure there are some that probably see play. Oh, the uh what's it? The Slitherwing I think does burn. I'll check real quick. Um
yeah, I mean, while you're looking, I mean, that's the question. You need some good way to get burn and play, and then as a stage one, you over add a couple turn like by turn 2, turn 3, you can get to at least certainly 2 of these in play. So that's an extra 60 damage, potentially even 120, if they flip tails, right? Which they'll do some of the time. So that's a big plus to things, but you got to get them burned in the first place, and the Magmort itself to attack isn't great, like you said.
yeah, I'm looking through these. Like I can these this is just like a weird list of Pokemon. Um like Armor Rouge. There's actually multiple Armor Rouges that
Oh,
burn, including the good one. Oh
Yep.
wait, there was already a card in Standard that increases burn. I forgot that. During Pokemon Checkup, put 4 damage counters on your opponent's burn Pokemon instead of 2. Oh wait, this is like actually the same card as um, the Magmortar. Its attack is 90. It's only one colorless, and it's on a coin flip. Your opponent's active is now burned, but it's less. There's less HP a little, and also it does. It says put 4 damage counters on your opponent's burn Pokemon instead of 2, as opposed to 3 more. So this one wouldn't stack. I don't know how these two would interact, but they won't be in format together. Um, Ultimately, the best looking one seems like um, maybe Incineroar EX, which is like kind of awkward.
Uh,
But Incineroar EX is like you can play that with Magmortar and be taking one shots. Potentially, you do 240 plus burn, so 260. So you get 2 Magmortars. You're one shotting most things.
y-
That doesn't sound amazing, but it sounds like something.
yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, in Megmore, Incineroar's at stage 2, so life gets even tougher for you. And I don't remember. Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to be great. It's not going to be great, I will say. But so it's an interesting ability. Right now, nothing comes to my mind that's going to make a viable deck. I would think with Magmortar's ability right now.
Yeah. But it's an interesting card, I think. Then we
Yep.
have water. We got I don't know. This is Ludicolo that increases damage HP by 40, and this is Warlord that has 240 HP, which is like kind of funny. But I don't know. Are there any water Pokemon that really caught your eye?
Well, right. So the Ludicolo stage 2, which is always awkward, plus 40 HP, but doesn't stack. So I'm not sure that's good. But look, the Wailord, the Wailord, that one's interesting because right, 240 HP on a single prize stage 1 is obviously tremendous, which is kind of Wailord's thing. Retreat cost is 4, so that's terrible for you. But you want this guy in the active anyway, right?
Yeah, and you can use Heavy Baton.
Which
It's
does
like not where you like
what
move the energies.
if you're knocked out, right? You move what,
Yeah,
2 or 3, something like that,
I think it's 3.
which
It's
is
played 9 hands. I didn't really play that much.
right. And then the attack is 4 colorless energy, so in theory it could go with anything, but it
Well,
does
but it doesn't. It
well,
says
it'll do 10 damage for 4
yeah, it can
energy.
do 10 damage. That's true. Just like Badoo, which is like such a good card. Um,
But the Badoo has 30, this has 240, so it's equal to whatever the multiplication. It's
it's 8 times as good as Badoo.
exactly.
Um,
But obviously, look, the attack is 10 plus 50 more for each water energy attached. So you want to have at least 4 water energy attached. So that's still doing 210. So you
and
probably
you could use reversal, which will still fulfill the water.
right. So
Like
that's
the
3 reversals there. I mean, 3 waters with that. And I guess you're, because I was looking at it, so I guess you're having to play it with Baxcalibur, right?
yeah,
Well,
probably.
and some reversals in the deck, right? So if you it's kind of a fun stupid deck is what I would say.
Oh, before we were talking about before the podcast, you were talking about Zadu, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you could do Zadu reversal energies.
Wait, oh,
That's
and then I do
powered up.
160, right? Because I have 3
Yeah, you
water
do
energies.
160. Yeah. So awesome stuff right there. Yeah. So Warlord like is it has a lot of HP, which is kind of cool. I think this is the high. This might be the highest HP single prizer that we've ever seen. I don't know, but it's obviously quite high.
Yeah, look, you're not going to get one shot all the time with this, right? That's the good thing with it. Obviously, you got to set it up, which I think you'd have to play it with Bax Caliber to make it viable. But is that really your best use of Bax Caliber, right? That's going to be the question. Like I said, it's a funny, silly Pokemon that can make it can make a meme deck out of it, which I don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah. Then Lightning. Oh, these are all trainers Pokemon, and there's also a Hops Pincurchin EX, which is also probably not in the set, but is a trainers Pokemon and is obviously a um yeah, it's Lightning. So Psychic. Most of these are trainers Pokemon. I guess we got to talk about the Bayonet. Bayonet says your opponent shuffles 3 cards from their hand into their deck for 1 Psychic on a stage 1. Does that seem good to you or not?
So Bayonet, no, it's not. They get to choose, right? So
Mhm.
you hit them with what, hand trimmer? They're down to 3 cards in hand, right?
Yeah.
And then you do
You mean
this.
throw 6 Machinations?
Oh, Zern, yeah, there's
Tantrum is 5.
5. So
And I
let's
think
get yeah.
I was
There's
gonna say it's rotating. I don't think it is. I have no idea when that card came out
yeah.
because
No, I
it's
believe
not
it's got
here.
the silver border, right? Which is the nice
Yeah.
thing. If
Okay.
it has
With
a
Temporal Forces, wow, that's Okay.
forever
It's
ago,
a very
right?
forgettable card. Yeah, but it's like it's a very forgettable card to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. The Zerniacs or Zero Six Machinations, right? Gets them to 3, get them to no cards in hand, but it's not good. And because you do this, but then you have the second attack does 70. So I mean, what your parent if you want it in a Bayonet EX deck, but I don't think this is a useful card.
Yeah, I think it has some potential. Like with Zero Six Machinations plus this, it's kind of insane, but that's not super easy. It's good, but if your opponent's already set up, then it doesn't matter. So it seems kind of whatever.
Well, because if your goal is in a control deck to deck out your opponent, you're not going to deck them out because you're putting other cards back in their deck every turn, right? So,
Yeah,
I mean, you could deck them out eventually, but it's gonna you're gonna even on live, you're gonna like go to time possibly on it because it's gonna be a lot of turns to deck them out. And I'm not sure how you make your deck infinite. Oh, yeah, no, you got the Dunsparce to go infinite still. If you're doing something, not that I think you want them to deck, but you're gonna have to be infinite because you're taking so long to deck out your opponent.
yeah. No, you could do like this, and then you could like attack with Scoville and EX, the grass one, to like mill and disrupt their hand at the same time. I think is what it does, and it does damage, something like that. So yeah. Anyways, Bayonet isn't the best. Um, I don't have anything to say about the rest of the psychic Pokemon. I mean, there's trainers Pokemon,
Let me see.
but
I just made a note of Metagross here. So stage 2. Let me take a look at what it does. So um, so Joint Beam does 130 damage for 2 psychic energies, and you brought up the Zatu already as being one of the go-to engines post rotation. Of course, is high on your list.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
it's not for you. I obviously loved trying out the Zatu engine, but eventually I gave up on it. But we are losing the best engines in the game, I think. So
yeah. No, Zadu is like kind of fun, but it's
it
not very
is.
consistent.
Right. Whether this deck needs it, it might because you need 2 psychics. There is what counter gain that lets you attack for 1 less if you're behind in prizes, right?
One less colorless.
Oh, 1 less colors. Well, that doesn't help for a 2 psychic attack cost. All right. So, but it
No.
does 130. But if you have the Beldum and the Matang, the basic and the stage 1, it does 150 more. So that's all part of this evolution line. So you'll get that set up a couple times over the course of the game. So now you're doing 280 on a single prize Pokemon for 2 energy. That's not bad, is what I'll say.
Yeah, and then you can one shot Charizard EX. Yeah, no, you're a little. I feel like you're still short on the damage numbers you need. Like you can one shot Pidgeot EX.
Right.
Obviously not one shotting like Charizard or like Dragapult.
Well,
And obviously it's like
Dragapult's
really hard to pull off.
it is. Look, it's a meme deck, but it's a reach of a meme deck, is what I'll say.
Yeah, you can one shot Reggie Draco and Lugia and all the V stars that everyone's going to be playing post rotation.
Well, you can one shot all the Goldengos, right? That's what matters.
Uh, yeah, that's true. That's true. So, anyways,
We do
Metagross,
have to you do have the stadium to reduce stage 2s by 30, right? So then so you're hitting effectively 310, which does get some stage 2 EXs,
um,
right? A couple, not most of them.
what's it get that 280 doesn't get?
I don't know, but then we
I
have
can't think of any. Oh, Gardevoir. Yeah, I guess.
and we got the
I guess
supporters to boost up our damage to level 2.
that's true. That's true.
So
Anyways, and then you have the Metang to accelerate metal energies too. Um, no, I
all
think it
right.
would be the best Metang because it lets you like reorder like the bottom of your deck or like have knowledge of the bottom of your deck or
Oh
something.
yeah,
But but
that's
that's like super weird and complicated. Anyways,
yeah. And then if you're playing a Zatu engine, you can't. No, the Zatu goes to any Pokemon. It doesn't have to be Psychic type, right? The
yeah,
energies.
because we played it with Ditto.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean it's yeah, no, it's not the best thing. So let's move on past that. And I think that yeah, that's it for the Psychic Pokemon. Besides the trainers Pokemon, of course.
Yeah. So now there is we need to talk about I think probably the most hyped fighting or the most hyped Pokemon from the set that's not a trainers Pokemon. Maybe I don't actually remember what all the cards are, but Mamoswine EX I actually don't think it's great, but Uncommon Fossil. Do you know this card?
Let me read. I know
Do
I
you?
made a note of it.
I think
So
I'll read it here.
okay.
Its ability, Mammoth Carry. It is an EX. It's 340 HP. Its attack for 2 fighting does 180, 40 for each of your stage 2 Pokemon on your bench. There are some stage 2s you can cheat into play, but not as easily post rotation as we're losing, notably Gengar. But regardless, Mammoth Carry says once during your turn, you can search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Does that remind you of a card?
Yeah, it's the from the old Charizard theme deck, the Relentless Flame deck, right? The
Y-
Nidoqueen, right?
Queen. Yeah.
Yes.
which wasn't very good in standard, but it
No,
was good in themed.
it was a good theme deck, right? So, but
Yeah,
obviously you need
even
that.
though it wasn't even like insane in themed. It was like, I mean, the deck was really good, but
Yeah, no, it was a
you
very
know,
good deck because of the Charizard, and the Nidoqueen was okay with it. If you got Nidoqueen set up, you basically were going to win the game generally with
yeah,
that.
in like 5 turns.
Oh well, it was theme format. It's okay, but we
It
have
was no, it worked in themed. So
yeah. So look, you need the ability is good though because you need to get these stage twos in play. So it's important to the deck, right? So the ability is important for it. So it does 180 plus 40 more for 2 fighting. You got to get the 2 energies on, but that's it's not bad, right? Um, so
yeah, I don't know how you get the energies on. It seems like kind of hard. You have new upper energy, and you have
let's see, we lose Gutsy Pickaxe, right?
yeah, which isn't even like that good anyways.
No,
But
I know. Well, we
you
have
probably play it.
you have the basic EX, right? That you accelerate some energies from
Oh,
this card.
Koraidon EX. Yeah, that could be. I was gonna say it's good. Yeah, and I guess you're probably not filling up your bench with stage twos anyway. Like you're filling it up some, but you're still gonna play Pokemon like Pheasant EX and stuff. You could even play a Terra to expand your bench if you want.
Hmm. Well, if you're gonna
There are
play
different
if you're gonna play Koraidon on Fezidipti, then you're gonna have to play a Terra Pokemon and expand your bench, right? To get to the damage numbers you need, because you're gonna need to get how many stage twos do we need on the bench to like one shot?
if you have like four, you should be good. Um, and you're probably not like four is a lot.
It
That seems
is.
really hard.
Yes.
So I mean, if your opponent's playing stage twos, you can just like play down a bunch of Kling Clangs. And if what's the other one? Oh, and then if you're like behind, you can play a bunch of Luxrays. So maybe that's enough.
Oh, I like the Luxray thought. I hadn't thought of that. So you just need one turn to behind, and then you got to slam down the Luxrays that turn, right? And then you just look. Being a fighting type's good too. Hitting for fighting weaknesses is one of the better weaknesses to hit for too, right? And just in general. So
Yeah.
and 340 HP is
So
nice.
fighting does it does hit the most resistances as well, and with a Pokemon like this with small damage increments, not like the tiniest, but relatively
Right.
small, resistance can definitely matter.
No, you're right. I mean, look, part of it is 340 HP. Your goal is you're not getting one shot, right? If you're getting one shot, well, you're just going to lose because it's going to take you a little bit to set up, and it's going to take you a lot before you're one-shotting things. Um, Getting the energy ons like is a concern, like you said. You have Neo Upper Energy. You have um, the tool if you're behind. The tool, the what counter gain is that the right name for it? By the way.
Yeah.
And does that work on Rulebox Pokemon as well?
But yeah, but it's only colorless.
Oh, that's right. You keep saying it,
Which is
and
that's why
what?
I said you said that for
In this one's fight double
Metagross doesn't
fighting.
work.
Why can't they make these like fight psychic colorless and fighting colorless? But they
Yeah, no, they'd be much better, but it's not that.
yeah,
So I don't exactly know. This seems harder than the Metagross. Well, I don't. It's not harder to set up the attack than Metagross's attack for 280. But anyways, Mammoth EX
I,
is like kind of interesting. It seems okay.
I
It
mean,
seems kind of fun, silly.
yeah, you probably want to do it in expanded, right?
Oh yeah, and expanded would be, um, I don't know, like even just like live expanded. You have the Gengar, which is
Right.
really nice. You can just get onto the board. Um, there's I don't know how you get the energies on. I'm sure there are plenty of ways though. I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
Right. I mean, we do have Gutsy Pickaxe then,
Yeah.
which
Oh no, I know what you could
but
do. You
there's
could do Blood Moon Ursa Luna, which when you play down, you can accelerate 2 fighting energies from your hand to it,
okay.
and then you can energy switch. That's not great, especially because it's a basic and it
Right.
doesn't evolve into a stage two, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah, I don't love that. Or you Thornton to it the following turn, and then rare candy. You
Uh-huh.
could well, you could do that, right?
Yeah, yeah, theoretically.
Well, I'm not sure that which is going to be
But you
your.
also need like 5 more stages, or you need like 4 more stage twos in the event in addition to
Oh,
um
I'm just
Mammoth Swine
no, but I'm
EX.
just saying in terms of making the mammoth swine work, I'm not sure which way to. Anyway, it's got its issues, but it's
Yeah,
intriguing. That's what.
yeah. We got Regirock, which you can well not play with the Reggies, but it's here. Um, then
Uh,
we have. Do you have something to say about the Regirock?
no, go on. I mean, no, I don't. So. It takes 30 less damage, right? If it has energy attached, but it's got, it's 130 HP. You're getting one shot. The attack's not very good. It does not affect by resistance, but 120 for 3 fighting is not getting you very far.
Yeah, I could be okay in the Reggie's deck if it that was still a thing. Probably not. Probably not something you do, but it is like kind of tanky, I guess. Nothing spectacular, but it's a little tankier than the others. Anyways, we got um we got the Lycanroc line, the Lycanroc,
Right.
which has its ability Entangling Spikes. When you play this to evolve from your hand, then you can attach up to 2 Spike Energies from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And Spike Energy is a special energy which says when you hit into it, you take 20 damage. It's just a
Right.
colorless special energy. Kind of like Rocky Helmet. And then you have your attack Grabbing Fangs for 3 colorless. You do 40 more for each damage, kind of on your opponent's active Pokemon.
Yeah, and I assume this what spike energy. I just kind of scrolled away from stuff. Is that what
Yeah.
it stacks? I assume so. You're accelerating
Yeah.
2 of
Sure.
those, so that's 40. The problem is you're attacking, then you're getting hit into right, and it's not till you get. It, unfortunately, it's not when the energies get attached does the damage. So you're not necessarily doing the extra damage your first turn, right? So you're trying not to get one shot. I think with that,
Yeah.
right?
I think you're more so just like a turn behind, which isn't ideal, but it is what it is.
And then the idea is it's stage one, which is okay. The problem is you have 4 spike energy in your deck. Um, but they come from the discard, so you just get them in the
Yes, they can
discard.
like cycle it. You need to get back to Lycanrocs and stuff like that. There just aren't really many good single price decks, and I think they're all basics. I don't really know. I know there's Ancient Box and Lost Zone, which is like kind of single prize.
Right.
Snorlax is also one, but that's like very different. Certainly all basics. Not You could play with Pidgeot, but
So
probably just basics.
so let me think just real fast. So the math I'm doing because I'm two-shotting things for the most part. So I do 40 damage the first turn to my opponent's undamaged Pokemon. They hit into me. I have 2 of the spike energy generally attached to it, right? Figuring I do that, I attach a basic energy a lot of the time. Um, so that's another 80. So now they're at 140, and then I'm attacking the next turn with 40.
What's happening?
What's that? Oh,
I'm not
so
paying that much.
so so so
Well, I think the
so the second turn I'm one-shotting. I'm doing big damage the second turn.
Yeah, and so if they hit you and you have the 2 Spike Energies on, and then just a basic energy, they have 40, and then you're hitting back for wait, it's 4 for each damage counter on them, so that's 40 plus, and then you're doing 200. But if you have 3 Spike Energies or 2 Spike Energies in a Rocky Helmet, they hit into you, they take 60, and
Right,
then you hit back for, um, wait, am I doing this right? Yeah, you hit back for 280,
right.
and then that's a total of 340. So that's enough to like one shot anything.
No, yeah, it is. You can. The problem is two-shotting everything and following a certain path. If they ever switch their active Pokemon, all of a
Well,
sudden.
well,
So,
but you're one-shotting everything in that situation.
well, no, I'm not because I have to attack them. Oh, they hit into me. Well,
Yeah, then they take 60, and then you one-shot them.
oh, so I'm just not attacking. So I'm just like sending up, but I have to send up
I
the
mean, the
stage
first turn
stage
you
one.
might want to hit into them for maybe like Fan Rotom's a Pokemon that can attack cheap. There are various Pokemon. You could even just like Badoo or something to buy
Yeah,
some
I,
time
I
in
play
Northern
Badoo
Pokemon.
with the tool, right? That does 10, and then they knock out the Badoo. They take another 20, right? Um,
Yeah,
uh,
something like that.
I think to make the deck work, we need to have a way to get damage counters on opponent's active Pokemon. That's what it's going to need
Yeah.
before we can't let them take the initiative, and that's the hard
I mean,
part.
if you're taking a one-shot every turn in Lycanroc, then you're going to win, probably, because you're a single pricer.
Correct. Oh yeah, you can be a turn behind that way, but I don't. Yeah, I'm concerned. Look.
Yeah, it seems a little awkward, but theoretically it sounds strong.
Look, it's interesting. It's definitely worth some work on what can do what it can do. It's dicey, right? Is what it can do, and I do like that ability to accelerate special energy to it is not something we get very often, right? So like on a Pokemon like this, so
Yeah,
that makes it
yeah, you're
more.
gonna be playing a Wigglytuff, right? Um,
Um,
from what set was it from? Wigglytuff from Paldea Evolved, which accelerates therapeutic energy, right? Your favorite card.
that so I get more energy onto it.
Yeah, well, that's a card that accelerates special energy to any of your Pokemon as well. Um,
So
Yeah. Have you played that card?
I did. I forget. Well, yeah, I tried it. Is what I'll
It's
say.
like pretty tough deck.
I don't think
Very
it
tough
went
card.
well.
Yeah. Then there's Cloth for 2 colorless. You can do you flip 2 coins for each head, discard an energy from your opponent's active. The 2 colorless is kind of awkward because double temper is rotating, but you do have
Right.
counter gain there. Um, it seems all right.
I mean, yeah, without double turbo, I mean, it's an option for control decks, right? That's what I'll
Yeah.
say. I don't think you're making this a cloth deck as such. With this as your whole focus, though, it's an option in a control box deck. Is what I'm thinking. If it's going to be useful, which I'm not certain about that.
Yeah. But then let's move on to the Tyranitar, which you've been looking forward to, right?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. This is one of my big ones. This is like the High Dragon EX, but this is not this is a single prize Pokemon, right? One of these Pokemon that does it all here.
Mm.
So Tyranitar, now it evolves from what the Pupitar, which is fighting now, right? And I don't know if
Mhm.
there's are all the Pupitars fighting in format because some were
I'm pretty
grass at
sure.
times, right?
Uh,
Um,
n- no, I'm pretty sure they were all. Oh, I don't know about the old ones.
okay,
But I'm pretty
so
sure they're.
so what it does here, it's a stage 2. That's always not ideal, but darkness colorless. So,
Apparently, there are some dark ones, but they're kind of different.
okay, and that are going to be in format
No, they're like
old.
old, like dark dual type Pokemon.
Okay, so this one's a darkness and a colorless, so therefore all those brilliant ideas for with colorless energies, I can use that, right? I can use the counter gain, right? So awesome there. So it does 150 damage. You mill 2 from the top of their deck. Okay, mill 2 is not enough. We know that, but yet it's always fun to have these things. 150 is not bad. And that, but then here it's also item lock. And is this the best item lock card going to be in format? Is when it's in the active spot, they can't play any item, so it's not the result of an attack. So they can gust out of it, of course, but they can't gust out of it every turn, right? They're not going to
Yeah, and they
boss,
can't like prime catcher out of it or counter catcher out of it, or Pokemon counter catcher, the
right?
Pokemon catcher out of it. But they can boss
Yeah,
or
but
potentially Iron Bundle.
yeah, yeah, but they're not doing that every turn for sure. So they can get out of it once or twice. But so the question, look, if you can get this set up, it's 190 HP on a single prize. That's not bad. Between the ability, item lock, 150 damage, milling 2, it's interesting. I think you could definitely win games with it if you can get it set up.
Yeah, no, I think so. Tyranitar is also interesting. With I mentioned Excelgor. So the old deck that was played was Excelgor Gothitelle, I think, um, which was hit and run Excelgor into this Tyranitar.
Hmm.
Tyranitar is going to be hard to get out of the active, not impossible, but difficult. Um, but you can get it out, right? There are ways. But then you
Yeah.
can attack with Excelgor, which is a hit and run attack. It does damage. It does less. It does like half the damage of Tyranitar and doesn't mill, but it does also confuse, which is like kind of interesting. Ultimately, it's not super impressive, but hit and run into Tyranitar could be interesting.
Yeah, it's just a lot of pieces to get set up, right? That's one of the problems with it. Um, so can you hide behind a wall while you get Tyranitar set up on the bench? I guess is kind of what you're
Yeah,
having
maybe
to.
just like Badoo in the early game.
Right, Badoo early game, right? We're losing Black Snorlax. Everyone's going to weep about that, of course. So that would be, I don't think you'd want to do that. But yeah, you go with Badoo. And this is, if you're doing that with a deck like this, you probably need like 3 Badoos, right? Because you're going to have to send up at least 2 Badoos to get your Tyranitar set up. So,
Yeah, probably.
right. So I probably want at least 3. I might even need to go 4 because I got kind of have to start this,
I
slow
mean,
down
you
my.
don't necessarily have to do double Badoo. Like, you could probably go after your first Badoo gets knocked out, um, using like counter gain especially.
Yeah.
But
Well, I also need rare
you probably
can,
want 2
but I
Tyranitars.
also have to
Yeah.
rare candy on turn 2 as and
Well,
stuff.
that's not like that hard. There are lots of decks that do that.
No, but if I needed counter gain or if I gotta, am I gonna have the right turn 1 and the right turn 2? I'm not certain. Like and like we mentioned, we are losing some good engines too. So especially for these single prize decks, these are the ones that need decent engines. So, you probably would want the barrel. I would thinking to was what you do now with a deck like this. So, look, I think it's an interesting card. It's definitely one I want to give a try to.
Yeah, I think it would be good with Pidgeot EX as well. Regardless, Tyranitar is definitely
Yeah.
probably the most interesting Pokemon, or one of the most interesting Pokemon from the set. I'm looking through the other single prizers. The next one I have up is Magearna, which is the other not necessarily single prize is the non-trainers Pokemon. I
Yeah.
am Yurna. This Escavalier isn't even like translated, which is kind of awkward. But it actually like does have some text. But Yurna here is a really interesting card to me. Its attack's pretty generic, but its
Right.
ability is really interesting as long as this is your active. Whenever you attach an energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, heal 90 from that Pokemon. That's a lot of healing. And
Right.
you can accelerate if you like accelerate energy using Excalibur, for example, you can heal a ton of damage, which is really interesting.
Right. I mean, it has to be from hand. It doesn't have right. It doesn't have to be your turn. So it doesn't. You can't use anything that accelerates from the discard pile to get this effect, or from the search out from the deck and attach. So, so Excalibur. What other ways do we have to accelerate energy that would activate
I mean,
this? By the
Killmonger
way.
Sugar Pontiac accelerates to itself.
Right.
So you could like Heroescape your Teal Sugar Pontiacs and then like keep accelerating to it. I mean, you don't accelerate that much, but and then you need to keep like switching out. But that's something.
Yeah.
That actually sounds kind of funny. Like you have Teal Sugar Pontiacs, your opponent hits you for um I don't know, whatever, 180 we'll say with Charizard, then you just
Right.
retreat to the bench. You need some switch somewhere. But you maybe retreat into an Abra and then I guess this is like super easy if you're playing against Charizard anyways, but then you can accelerate and attach and then you've healed off all the damage, which seems kind of funny. And Pokemon Center Lady is coming back too as well, so you can heal extra with that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing you said Abra, so then I'm thinking
Oh wait, no,
Alakazam.
you can't use Abra. What was I saying? So you need the Magurin in the active though.
Right. He has to be the
So
active. So, but you could play it with Alakazam EX, right? Because we haven't fully.
oh,
I'm thinking this, or
well,
also
Alakazam EX isn't taking damage.
that's true. But that's true. But if they switch and damage you, you could switch back. You're right. I also just
Yeah.
thinking that could be the way to play the Tyranitar, right? Item lock him with my stage two.
Yeah, and then you can also and for that you have Pekka EX as well, which is nice. But that means you need to retreat the Tyranitar. Oh wait, yeah. But regardless, Maguire is an interesting card. I think.
Yeah, no, it was on my list too, and the attack, which is actually solid as well, which raises interesting questions. It's for one colorless, so it could go in any deck, right? Which is a plus. With the attack, now you might not use the attack, but you do 20 damage. You draw two cards. Drawing two cards isn't bad at all. So of course, then you're healing. You're not healing off something else if it's just attachment return. But if you're playing like with Baxcalibur, you could then on some turns you attack with the Magirna as well, just to do some get some cards in hand and such. So I think you will usually attack some with this card.
Maybe
You
yeah.
you and
Then
I will. I'll tell you that. But that's the way
yeah,
I roll.
and then we have the Salamence EX. This one's really interesting in Regidraco V-Star. Oh wait, that's rotating. But for four, Fire Water, two colors, you do 300, discard two from this Pokemon. Again, perfect fit in Regidraco. In your first attack for Fire colors, it does 50 to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. These are actually like too expensive to work, and they're on
Right.
stage twos. If they're on a stage one, they might be good. Or a stage one
Yeah.
equivalent Pokemon, but
Well,
they're not.
right. So it's a basic Pokemon, right? Although it's got this little. Oh, it's a stage
Or what?
two. It's a
Yeah,
stage
no, it
two.
says
Okay.
yeah.
It just doesn't say stage two on the text here. That's what was confusing me.
Oh yeah, it's mistranslated in PokeBeach. Yeah, it's a stage two.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think it's very good. It like, its attacks are pretty mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, if we had full expanded format, you have the double dragon, right? Which we don't have in Live's expanded format. So,
Yeah, but I feel like in expanded, you should play this with Richie Draco.
yeah, I think you do. Although, yeah, I was trying to think even if it's better though. 300 damage, I think, is more than you're doing, but discarding two energy is not great.
Well,
So,
but what's the alternative? Giratina V-Star, which does 280 and then lost zones two energies. I guess it could be from your bench, but um, I don't know. I feel like it's good, and they're at like 300 can be meaningful. It's probably actually not that meaningful, but then the
yeah,
first tax like kind of interesting as a spread option. Regardless, it's not that good.
no,
Then I
no,
feel like we can skip the drought again. Could have also been good with Reggie Draco, but
yeah.
yeah. Then we got the Dunsparce EX, your favorite card.
I'm excited about this one. I told you this when the announcement came out a little while ago, and you were not excited. But as I keep saying, we're losing the big engines, and the Dunsparce is actually a pretty good engine. I've just stopped playing it and forgotten about it as is everyone else, but it's actually pretty good. So obviously you play the regular Dunsparce with this Dunsparce EX, right? And now you have an attacker that I don't know if it's good having the same, well, it saves deck space, but now you got to, those things play out right. But the attack, let's say, so the second attack for 3 colorless isn't great. It does 150. That's not affected by effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, so will deal with Mimikyu, right? So it's good to have an answer for Mimikyu. But the first attack does 60 per each opponent's Pokemon's EX. So it will be good against a bunch of things. So if you're playing, and it's 1 colorless, so if you play any deck with a Dunsparce engine, which will be viable in a lot of, which is a real consideration, you add a copy of this in your
Yeah.
deck, right? And it makes the Dunsparce engine better by having this, because a lot of decks like a lot of EXs, right? So you're going to blow up a lot of things with this the Dunsparce EX. So this plus the
I don't know
Dunsparce
if I'd say
engine.
like you can do like 180 maybe,
Well,
120, 180.
well, I figure I'm playing against Charizard Pidgeot every game.
But that's like they might have what Pheasantipty
Yeah, and two
and
Charizards and
2 Charizards.
yeah, two Charizards. So I'm still at 280. I need to get a fifth one to play, but they'll
Well, you're at 240.
well, so I need to get so if they fill up their bench with EXs and then the active, I one shot them.
Yeah, if they play 60 X's, you're all good. If 5 EXs, you can one shot their Pidgeot. No, 4 you can one shot like a Pheasantipty EX, which is like possible. Um, it's okay. Like it's an interesting potential option within that deck.
Well,
Then
yeah, look, if you're playing the Dunsparce engine, I think you need to think about this as a one of in your deck.
Yeah. Yeah, probably good there. Then we got the new Noivern. This one I'm really excited for. This is kind of like the old Leon Mega Prime, and there's some cards like it. But its ability says if you and your opponent have the same number of cards in your hand, your attack here, the Panic Howl attack, is free. And it does 110 in confusion, and also has free retreat. It's not super impressive. However, it is an attack that is free, which is kind of nice. It's kind of like Cramorant. It's stage 1, so it's not as good,
Right.
but it is interesting. I think I mean, you can't use Cramorant in most decks, but you could use this in most decks if you have like Iono or Judge, or if you just draw lots of cards. And there are lots of situations where you can use this. If your opponent's trying to avoid it, they probably can, but um, ultimately, it's a card that I like it a lot, and I'm excited to see how good it is.
I look, I think it's not going to be very good because it's like a bad version of Cramorant, right? It does 110 the same thing as that. Now, yeah, they're confused as well, and that's good. But I think getting the free energy aspect of it is harder than Cramorant because yes, you could go theoretically in any deck. Um, I guess I mean confusion's good, but it's a coin flip, right? So it's kind of goes in stall decks largely. We do
I
have
don't
the
know. I mean, like, I feel like it's pretty. Wait, why would it go in like stall decks?
why because why do you want to confuse your opponent? You're
Well,
confusing
it's
them
better
to
to confuse than not confuse, but it's not like it's just confusion. But I feel like like it's solid. It's not that hard to like. If you could just play a bunch of Judge. Judge is an okay supporter, and you could put Northern in if you want. And then the big thing is it allows you to attach energy to your bench. It's a free attacker, free retreater, just like Badoo, but it does more damage.
yeah. Look, I'm find it underwhelming. I don't know that how often you're going to get the ability set up right for free energy for free and 110. It should just I think it needs to do more damage than 110 to make me excited about it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not like an amazing card. I mean, it's obviously better than the Dunsparce EX, right? But um,
yeah, I mean you slap it in your Noivern EX deck, right? That's what I'm thinking.
yeah,
And
no,
I
I
don't.
think it's good in other things as well.
Yeah, yeah, maybe I'm not sold, but that's fine. I,
Yeah.
I
So
I don't
now we
think I
have
sold you on all my cards that I'm excited about either. So
no. And then we have some other cards. We don't really have colorless Pokemon to talk about just yet. We're gonna talk about those in just a minute.
right,
Or we'll see what order we go in. But we got some trainers. We got Super Potion, which is back. It's a potion card. And then we got Exchange Ticket. Exchange Ticket is actually huge because, well, I don't know, it's arguably
yes,
huge. You and Heavy Ball is rotating, which means you can't actually check your prizes without checking your deck now. But this is an item card. You essentially take your prizes and put them on the bottom of your deck. You do shuffle them, and then you take the top whatever cards of your deck and put them as your prizes. You don't change the number of prizes there. So yeah, I mean it's good. It guarantees that you'll get those cards out of your prizes. You might end up sending some stuff you don't want into your prizes. You can kind of control this as well. what you send in, but not to an amazing extent. You can't like put like you can't really like choose all five of your prizes or six or whatever. But there's a card that is, I think, pretty meaningful.
Yeah, sorry, I was just yeah. Look, it's I look, I don't, I disagree about the well, the Hisuian heavy ball. I don't disagree that's rotating, and I don't disagree that that's meaningful, but I don't think that sorts out that issue.
Oh yeah, it's not like it doesn't entirely. It like
It,
fixes it more than it
well,
was. Like it wasn't fixed before. There was if this wasn't there, I think it like I think this helps.
but no, but here's where, and I think you were one thing I disagree with straight up that you said it helped with the prize checking with because we're losing Hisuian heavy ball. You don't actually know what you don't actually get to check the
No, I
prizes.
said that Hisuian heavy ball helped with prize checking.
Okay, so this doesn't. You don't actually know what the prize cards are. You don't. You
Yeah,
shuffle them without looking at them, put them on the bottom deck. But what it does help, which is something we haven't had in format for at least a year, is getting prize cards into your deck or your hand. Right? We had it with what Peonia a while ago. Did I get the right card by that? I always mix those
yeah,
up. So
yeah. And there's also Arc Phone. Wait, is Arc Phone in standard?
that is, but and I think that one stays in format. I believe.
No.
Oh, that
Uh,
one's rotating, but that
yeah,
one's
it's in Lost.
not so good. So for control
Yeah.
decks, this is a really good card, actually, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, and I think it's probably just for control decks. But generally, if you have a prize taking deck, you're not going to play this. But for control decks, this is a good thing.
I mean, I feel like toolbox decks it could also be good, like French Drake from Lost Zone. They're both
Y-
rotating, but
Yeah. Oh,
um,
and I'm playing an evolution deck as recently too with all 8 evolutions in it. So yeah, I might play this in the deck to get something out. Although I might stick other EVs that I need into the into the prizes. So, but it could have value there too.
yeah. Then we got Iris's Fighting Spirit, which is a supporter. Discard your hand and draw. Wait, what is it? Oh, discard a card from your hand and then draw till you have six cards in hand. That's yeah. I mean, it's fine.
Now a question though. This is not a trainer's card. There's not an Iris. There aren't Iris's
No,
Pokemon.
no. So there's Iris's. There's a few supporters in the set, and none of the supporters are related to the trainers Pokemon. It's separate.
Okay. Does this mean there will be an Iris's? Uh, you
No,
know.
I think this will mean there won't be an Iris's Pokemon.
Okay.
That's my prediction. Anyways, we got Ruffian, which says choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. You discard a tool and special energy from that Pokemon. That's pretty bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we're losing lost vacuum, but like it's still not very good. And then Brock Scouting, you can search for this is essentially objectively better than stuff like PokeKid and I think Trevor's similar. You search for either two basic Pokemon and put them into your hand, or an evolution Pokemon put into your hand. Cannot get uh, Pokemon V Union, so that's the thing. But
But they're not in format, so it's okay. I mean,
yeah, so this is fine,
well, I
solid.
think this is
All
an
right,
important card if we see in a lot of Bidoof, right? Because the main way we get Pokemon into play is through items. So now we have a
that's true.
supporter to get the our Pokemon. So if for deck, so I think you may include this in some decks for that reason.
Yeah, and then technically Lavenica is like not a trainer's Pokemon card, but it really is. So let's talk. What do you want to talk about? You're gonna start with the ones with lots of things, or with not lots of things.
Let's do the not lots of things so we can do the quicker
Okay.
ones first.
Yeah. So we'll start with Lilies. First of all, Lilies has
What's the first
a
type under lilies? Just to,
it's I believe it's all psychic. So
okay.
Lilies, and you can just control F as well, probably. So Lily's Pearl is a tool card that says if it's attached to a Lily's Pokemon, that and it's knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, your opponent takes one less prize card.
Yeah.
And so obviously that's really good. Lily's is definitely something that's I think it's gotten the least cards. I'm pretty sure. So we have just a small handful. I'll talk about Lily's Comfy here. It says, and I'll just read them. Then we'll talk about them together. Flower Call, and it's obviously a basic, and yeah. So you can, for one color, search your deck and fill your bench up with any number of basic Lily's Pokemon. And your other attack for one Psychic, you do 30 and return it to your hand. Then we have Lily's Cutie Fly. This is different than Cutie Fly. It does not evolve into Rabombi. Um, and Lily's Rabambi does not evolve from regular Cutie Fly, which I actually got confused about when I was like making a video. I just kind of forgot that for a second, but that is something. Ultimately, when I was talking about it, it didn't even like matter. But regardless, so it has free retreat and has 30 HP. But Lily's Rabambi 70 HP, free retreat. It could do 50 for one, which is actually like it's not that good. But anyways, inviting wink is your ability. Once during your turn, when you play this, to evolve, you can look at your opponent's hand and choose any number of basic Pokemon you find there, put it onto their bench. So that's like a control card. And then we have the main attacker here for the Lily's deck, which is Lily's Fairy EX. That's 190 HP, has a familiar attack, Full Moon Rondo for Psychic Colorless. It does 20 for each bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, with a base of 20. So this is the same attack
Yeah,
as
Entei,
Entei, so you
yeah,
can
Entei V and such.
yeah, and then its ability is actually really interesting, I guess. It's kind of good against Reggie Draco, which is rotating. But Fairy Zone, the weakness of each Dragon Pokemon is now Psychic, because Dragon Pokemon used to be weak to Fairy, Fairy's moved to Psychic. So this allows you to hit weakness on Dragon Pole, which could be really meaningful.
Right. So no, that ability is good. It's just too much work to get set up, right? Because I mean,
Is it?
well, if you're relying on these other the comfy and stuff to set up in the
Yeah, I think you don't rely on
Rabombi,
those. I think you don't play those.
you just play it like you would have played the Suicune or an Entei deck and just do the regular stuff to get stuff in play, which isn't bad. Now it's 190 HP, so it's lower than those other ones. That's not
Yeah,
great.
but with the tool, you only give up one prize, which is really good.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it definitely deserves some consideration. I'm not sure how good it's going to be, but you're relying on the
yeah, I think
tool
this seems okay.
in this. And I guess now we can play the Zatu engine, maybe, right? We need Pokemon in play
Uh,
anyway.
yeah,
I'm not sure
I
if that
guess.
that might be the logical thing to do with it. I'm not certain.
Yeah, it could be. You could use counter gain, then you can't play the other tool. So yeah, Liz Clefairy EX seems okay. I think the other ones, the Liz Comfy's, I think is quite bad. Filling your bench with the attack is just kind of slow and kind of whatever. You also definitely want Area Zero Underdepths. There is no Terra Pokemon in this set. I actually don't even know if they're coming out this year. I'm pretty sure there aren't. There
Okay.
might have been, to be honest. I didn't even pay that much attention. Regardless, Areas Zero Under Depth certainly good, almost required with Lily's Clefairy EX.
Yeah.
But the Lily's Rabambi can be used for like control stuff. It's not like super impressive. I definitely rather play um,
The the item, right?
Accompanying Flute.
Yes.
Yeah. And then also Erica's Invitation if I want to get it from their hand. But regardless, that stuff's fine. Then we have Iono. So Iono, I believe all those Pokemon are lightning, and these two have the least. Hop has the most, and or I think Hop has the most, and has a bunch as well. But we have for Iono, we have there might not be any cards that refer to Iono, but there is the Stadium card Lavenica, which is says once during your turn that you can put two basic lightning energy from your discard into your hand, and the main Pokemon is the Iono's Belly Bolt EX, which its ability, I believe, just lets you accelerate as much lightning energy from your hand to your Iono's Pokemon as you want, basic lightning energy, and it can do 230 for 4, 3 which are lightning. And then you have the Iono's Kilowatt Roll, where you
Yeah.
discard a basic lightning from your hand, or no, from this Pokemon, but you can accelerate it, and then you draw till you have 6 cards in hand. Um, so kind of like Revavroom, very similar actually in this deck. And then
Right.
you have the Iono's Electrode, which can knock itself out, or if it does 100 to itself, it has 100. And on a coin flip, it like one shots your points active, which seems kind of bad. But the Iono's Voltorb's arguably the main attacker. For 2 colors, you do 20 more for each lightning energy attached to each of your Iono's Pokemon.
Yeah. So let me look at the Bella Bolt one more time. So this is often as like a lightning energy from your discard from your hand to one of your Ionos. So we can power up the Voltorb with it, and as well as other ones on your bench. So yeah, I mean it's an intriguing deck. You can use the I guess you don't use the electric generator though, because it's kind of a wasted deck space, right? Well, once you have the Bella Bolt in play, generators use no generator comes from deck. So
Yeah, it
sorry.
could do like it's not that impressive though. It's obviously not. You're not always going to hit, and it's kind of whatever. And then it's kind of like runs you Chimp Excalibur, except I don't know what the main attacker is. Like Iono's Belly Bolt EX is okay. And wait, Iono's Kilowatt, yeah, that doesn't really have a usable attack here. I mean, it's 70 for 3. Could be worse, I guess. But
Yeah.
then you have, and the Iono's Electrode also doesn't look very good. It does have free retreat, but that's not even that meaningful because you can just accelerate energy and retreat potentially. Iono's Voltorb does 20 and 23, like a 20 times multiplier, which
Right.
is, that's not that much. So
No.
technically you can like have the energy on your bench and like be maintaining and increasing damage throughout the course of the game, but I feel like you're just not going to be doing that much damage. And it also seems like kind of awkward. It doesn't seem like completely terrible, but it doesn't seem particularly good either.
No, you're gonna have to run like what 20 energies or something close to that, right, to be one-shotting
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah, you need like 15 play to one shot stuff, which is kind of crazy. So, um,
yeah,
yeah, I think the Ionos deck unfortunately looks kind of bad. I hope we get Ionos and Liz Pokemon later on. They're pretty limited. They're very limited. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens with that. I'm just gonna double check that I'm not missing any. There are previous evolutions as well, obviously, but yeah. Anyways,
right.
so
All right.
then we have what ends.
Yeah, you gotta do ends.
Yeah, so ends. We got a few cards. There's a few trainers that support it. We got ends PP up, which is an item card, which is like Dark Patch. I think it accelerates. You attach a basic energy from your discard to one of your benched ends Pokemon. I think it got originally mistranslated to any of them. Has to be to the benched. But we do have a stadium, I believe, to help with that called Ends Castle, which actually has ends in its name. Which Oh wait, no, never mind. Yeah, the trainers do that. There just aren't supporters that do that. So ends castle. Each ends Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's, has no retreat cost. So this is nice for ends VP up to allow you to accelerate to the bench to be able to get into the active, I guess. But you might need to double switch in certain scenarios. But regardless, you got that going on,
Right.
and then I think that's it. Then we have a bunch of ends Pokemon. The main one is ends Zoroark EX, and it has its ability trade, discard one, draw two. So we're speaking about engines. Um, that's like an engine, right?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, like Curly is a legit engine, and other ones like that in the past. Or yes. Now, what I don't like is these other engines, like it were single prize. Now we have a two prize engine, but people we play Pheasant Tippy EX too. So when we play Squawkabilly for decks that need it, so we do play two prize Pokemon as engines anyway.
Yeah, and it does have free retreat, or no, it does have two retreat if you just want to use it for an engine. So that's bad. I mean, it's like normal. And
Yeah.
then your attack here for two darkness is Night Joker. Choose one of your benched ends Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. You copy it like Reggie Draco, but
Hmm.
instead, it needs to be in play. So that's worse. It means you don't get as much value from stage twos, and you get more value from basics. And there's a bunch of ends Pokemon. I'm gonna read through them. I don't know if I'll read through all of them. Do you
Okay.
care if I read through all of them,
Just
or like
let me know
even the?
what type we're talking. You're starting with.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna start. Well, I'm gonna start at the top with Ends Darmanitan.
Yep.
This one has two attacks that are usable. I think for two colorless you do, and it's stage one, which is meaningful. The attack cost. I'm not gonna say the attack cost actually.
Okay.
So the first one is 30 damage for each basic energy in your opponent's discard pile. That's good against Ceruledge, right?
Yeah, and a few other things. So
Yeah, it's okay in other situations.
right. So, but yeah, it's situational.
Yeah, oh, and this one is two colorless, so you could attack with it. And then the second attack is it's like two fire and a color. So Darmanic Cannon, which does 90, and then you discard all energy from this Pokemon. So that'll be the energies off of the Zoroark, the end Zoroark EX, and it
Yep.
does 90 to one of your points benched as well. We've seen attacks like this. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah,
I think.
it's okay as an option. The problem is that it's an evolution, so you have all these other pieces you need. So I'm concerned about it. Is what I'll say. But
Yeah.
let's
Then you have Ends Joltik. Joltik is a card that is, and there's a few like Pokemon that like don't that just seem kind of weak. But this doesn't seem terrible for two colorless. You do 30 before doing damage. Just called all tools from your opponent's active. If you do, your opponent's active is now paralyzed. So this could buy you a turn. It seems okay, mediocre, but not terrible.
yeah, it's more of a question. You just need to. Sorry, if you're going up against an ends deck, you just don't want to attach tools, knowing this could happen, right? It's because your opponent has to help you out to make this work.
Yeah, and it's not like it's 30 damage isn't that much. Um, but it is something. And then paralysis is like kind of nice for you to build up your board as well, which you might want to do, and build up your hand, which you can do with trade. And then we have the end Sigilyph. This can do um, victory symbol. You can only use this when you have one prize remaining, and then you win the game. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
the question is how you should be able to just win with an attack usually at that point too.
yeah, usually. So it's something. It's okay. I don't know if you'd play this one.
Right.
Um,
I mean, it's a
you know,
basic. You might include a copy, but you might not. Right. I'm not sure.
yeah. Definitely something you don't want just chilling on your bench the whole game. Ends Purloin is pretty bad. 20, your opponent reveals their hand, and you put a card you find there on the bottom of their deck. Could be useful in certain niche scenarios. And also, it is Darkness colorless, so you can definitely attack with it if you want to.
Yeah. I mean, the other question. This is a type of card though. Would a control deck consider this? Right. Not an ends deck,
Hmm.
but
Maybe it seems like kind of mediocre, or it seems kind of bad, like pretty
okay.
underwhelming. But it's something.
Yes.
And then we have uh,
Ends clink and clank, clink, clink, clank.
yeah, yeah. So ends Clink Clank for it's not stage 2, and you flip 3 coins to 120 for each heads,
I think.
which doesn't seem very good.
Yeah, I think I'm passing on that. Right. Because now, yeah, I don't think I want to add the stage 2 in the deck when the other pre-evolutions aren't very good. So just hurting
Mhm.
consistency too much.
Yeah. Then you have Ends Veshram. I think this is the main attacker. You can do 170, or you can do 20 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. And 170 is like okay, not amazing, but it's
Right.
okay. And then 20 for each damage counter on this Pokemon could be really good in certain scenarios.
Because you're at 280 HP, right? The Zorark EX, right?
Um,
Is it
yeah, 280.
280? So
So
hopefully,
decently tanky.
right. Hopefully you're surviving some hits. You might need to play Hero's Cape, right, to make sure you survive. Lost Vacuum, like you said earlier, is going away, so tools will stick around longer. Um,
Yeah, there's just jamming tower, but which I think now works with ace specs. So it was glitched in live, but yeah.
okay, but you're playing your own stadium, right? We're probably playing the end stadium, so we should hopefully be able to bump it. Um, you know, hopefully, of course, your opponent plays it down the turn the turn they're attacking. Well, you can't do anything about that then. And actually the Dredagen as well, the other dragon got you skipped as you accelerated discard, and now you're in the discard pile, so you might actually use that some too, right? To copy that attack.
Oh yeah, completely separately from
It's
ends.
a
Yeah,
different one. That's right. It's not an ends. So forget I said that. I thought it was an ends for a second, and forget I
yeah,
said.
and it's also a fire energy. It's a fire energy to a
Yeah,
dragon Pokemon.
okay. So yeah. So Reggie Drago wants that, right? But
Exactly, I know. So yeah, Regigigas is something. Actually, no, it's not. It's not anything. So the end stack seems okay. Like the attacking options are fine. There's the snipe one, and there's a few different ones that are like fine,
yeah.
but
Look, here's my thought, because ends was one that they leaked at Worlds, right? I mean, right, intentionally,
it
not
shows. Yeah.
however you phrase it, right? We saw some of the art, some stats were covered up. We didn't. I don't remember. Did they show one other ends Pokemon? I forget.
Yeah, it
Um,
was the Reshiram, I think.
so part of it, the trade ability is obviously very good, but then it depends on what the other ends attackers are. And I got to say, I feel like the ends attackers are underwhelming. Right? It's still not a great deck. Is my thought, but it's
Yeah,
something
I
that
think there's potential. Like, I think it's a decent deck, and people will play it certainly. Um, I think it's the best. I think it's definitely better than the Iono's deck, and I think it's also better than the Lily's deck. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, because partly because the Enzorok EX, it's going to get a lot of attention. So, how effective it's going to be, I'm not certain. I still feel like it needs one or two other good Ends Pokemon, which we might not be getting.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's that. And then we have Hops. Hops is, I think, the one we've seen the most stuff for so far. So we got.
Mhm.
I'll start with the trainers. Well, I don't know. I'll start with a few cards. So we got. Oh, I guess we have a Stadium Postwick. Oh yeah, yeah. This is the one. So this increases damage of Hops Pokemon by 30. And when it's there. And then you got the Hops Snorlax, which does, we'll get to its attack in just a moment, but its ability increases damage of Hops Pokemon by 30. Again, to your points active. And
Yep.
it doesn't stack with the other of that ability. And then you also have the Hops Choice Band, which says your attacks do 30 more against your opponent's active and cost 1 colorless less. I think every Hops Pokemon has a colorless energy and stack cost. Don't entirely remember. You also do have an item card here that lets you search for 2 basic Hops Pokemon and put them onto your bench, which is decent. Um,
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So we're looking at no that I mean it's a, if you're playing a hops deck, you're glad to have hops trainer for sure. Hops bag, I mean, and hops. So we can do 90 more damage, and we can attack for 1 colorless less with every hop, assuming we get all the pieces going, right?
Yeah.
That's which is very appealing.
hmm there's Hops Double, which can do 80 for 3 colorless, but then its ability on play, you Gust. That's the big thing. Um, which is good. I mean, on play, gusting, it's pretty solid. Seeing cards like this. This is parallels to this is and Zoroark EX parallel to Zoroark GX. The Hops deck is going to parallel to the Buzzrock deck. So yeah, that's like pretty intentional. Though there are some noticeable differences as well. But Hops Cramorant here for 1 colorless, it does 120 only if your opponent has exactly 3 or 4 prizes remaining for 1 colorless, as I said, so that would become free and do like a bunch more damage with all the damage buffs and stuff. You do have Hops Corviknight, which is metal. And that one does. Oh, I will say Hop Snorlax does 140 for 3 colors and 80 to itself, and it has 150 HP. So that is potentially an attacking option. But Hop's Corviknight does 50 to the active, 50 to 1 bench for 1 colorless. 150 from Metal colorless, takes 60 less, but only has 170, so it's not like super tanky. Um, it does resist fighting because it's flying from the video. And then Hops Zacian EX can do close cleave 30 to the active for 1 colorless, 30 to 1 of their benched. Or with a Brave Slash from Metal colorless, just 240 cannot attack next turn, which reminds me a lot of Zacian V's Brave Blade. So that's
Yes.
also a callback there. But Hops Zacian EX seems okay, but it's like not super easy to get all these medals on. And then there are some other Hops cards.
No, what
There,
I think the hops Zacian probably I think the first attack's going to be the more useful one, finishing off something on the bench.
I guess. Yeah, you're not
Assuming
like
it
sniping that much. You're
no,
just sniping 30. But you also can do 120 active, which is pretty solid.
right, but the energy cost of the second attack, I'm not liking that.
Yeah, no. I think the use will be to do a little bench damage, but a bunch of active damage.
Yeah.
And there's Hops Cobra, which can search for a stadium or do 20 for 2. Then you got the Hops Anaconda, which can do 30 for 2, fighting colorless. And then the defending Pokemon can't retreat next turn. And Ground Break for fighting colorless. Colorless 140 and does 20 to each of your own bench Pokemon. Doesn't have any positives there, but it's not like that bad. And then we have the Hops Pincurchin EX, which is on probably not, it's not in the battle partner set, but its ability, if it's in the active and is damaged, you put 3 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon, the one that hit you. And then I guess it doesn't have to be their active if it's Alakazam. And then Spike Thunder for lightning colors. You do 120 and then you draw 2 cards. So that would be 2 lightning with the tool there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little under. Well, let's think. So, I mean, if I get the 90 extra, I'm doing what 310. So
210. Wait,
what
with what?
210? Yeah, sorry. If I do 90, yeah, doing 210 with the hops boosters, right?
Mhm.
It's underwhelming, I will say, but
Which the
the
hops
the hops
Pokemon
pin
or
the pin Pincurchin EX, I think,
yeah,
but
it's okay. You can add a little extra with the getting hit into. It's not amazing, but with the weakness, you can like one shot Pidgeot EX. I think it like I don't know what type you'd play. The Hops Anaconda seems pretty mediocre. Hops
yeah,
Zacian EX seems like a big commitment. And not necessarily super strong. Hops Corviknight doesn't seem particularly good. And then like I just don't see a great one type attacker. But obviously you do have the um you have the Carlos stuff, which seems good, like the Hops Cramorant, the Hops
right.
Double, the Snorlax, and all the buffs and stuff. I don't know if it's entirely a complete deck, but it seems pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I like it's interesting for sure. That's the concern is you have all these different types of Pokemon you're going to have to do, which means a lot of different energies you're going to have to do. The stadium only covers the colorless energy, so
Yeah, the tool.
the tool, sorry, covers the yeah, sorry, you're right.
But I thought you said you weren't playing metal though,
With
and I
this,
thought you also weren't playing lightning. So you're just
so I'm just playing fighting.
which isn't even that good. Do you like the hops to like Rover and Sandaconda? I feel like they're okay.
No, I think I need a mix of these hops. As you went through it, I think I probably want a lightning. I probably want it as a box style deck that I'm hitting for all these different weaknesses.
Mhm. And
Um,
how are you gonna get the energy on?
I'm probably not. I'm probably just going to lose. It's probably going to go badly, but I think that's what it needs to be. None of these hops Pokemon in and of themselves are exciting me, right? That's the problem. Like their attacks none of them are quite good enough to run a deck. I don't feel like.
Mhm.
So I mean, which you're kind of in the same thought, right? The attackers are
Yeah, I
all a
think like
little,
hops Cramorant is really good on that one turn or whatever.
yeah.
Um, Honestly, Hop Snorlax maybe could even be an attacker. It's okay, and it's all colorless, and then you might want to like get some other stuff. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it necessarily has that attacker. The support seems really strong. It might be able to elevate the attackers um, to something that's quite good.
Yeah, I mean, like the Hop Snorlax doing 140 plus the buffing isn't bad, but now we're doing 80 to ourselves, and so it's a bunch of work to do that damage that turn, and then we're just easily getting knocked out, right? So unless I have a way to take advantage of a damaged Pokemon, which I don't think I do
Oh,
with the
but I feel like
Hops.
you
What are you saying?
I feel like you just don't need to like you're gonna get one shot at me. I sneezed, right? That's how I was like, I stop.
Okay, that's
So yeah, so like the self damage doesn't seem that bad. Like you're probably not living anyway, but um,
but the problem is it's three energies. It's not easy to, and I can reduce it by one, but I still need two energies. So it's not easy to because
yeah.
I'm
I
getting
mean,
knocked
getting
out
two energies on a basic colorless Pokemon can't be that hard.
once
But
I just slap down a double turbo, right?
exactly. But
So, or I can use Terra.
yeah, I
I
don't
can
know.
use a Terra thing. Oh wait, it's not a Terra Pokemon. So, I can use Terra orbs, right? So, or whatever.
What?
Or I
Striking
guess,
Crystal,
yeah. No,
which is a tool. So you already have a tool. But you can use Glass Trumpet. You can
to a
get a
color. I
Terra.
have to have a Terra, which there isn't a Terra. I'd have to add a Terra in the deck,
Yeah, but that's not that hard to do.
or I have to Crispin.
Yeah. Oh, I guess
Yeah,
that's what you do. You probably Crispin. Um,
I forget. Yeah, but you're right. The glass trumpet would work if I just have to have a Terra Pokemon, which there's not really a support Terra Pokemon though, is there? Oh,
um, what-
there's the Teal Mask Ogerpon.
yeah, I guess.
But I don't think I want grass
Um,
energy, right? There's not a
yeah, I
grass
would say I don't
Pokemon,
like.
so
Yeah. And then there's some that are like fine. But ultimately, I think Crispin's also interesting with if you're playing different types, then you can take advantage of that. But yeah,
right.
I think the trans Pokemon look okay. They're not necessarily like they're kind of the focus of the set, but they're fine. Nothing super interesting either. Like as in terms of a new mechanic, I think we're gonna see something bigger this year, like later on. The Mega Pokemon, I think, are almost confirmed to be coming back, or not coming, like coming back in some different form. So that's going to be exciting, but that'll be a bigger mechanic change.
Yeah, I mean, considering the trainers Pokemon was the big thing announced at Worlds, and in the community did get excited about it, which was Pokemon's goal. I think it's the in the when you see what it is, it's not like this makes us. I'm not like, oh, this makes for a great year ahead of us. This set of cards,
Huh,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
They're fine, and there'll be some things to
yeah,
work with. I'm not sure any of them are going to be that good, right? I mean,
yeah. If they get more support, I think so. I don't know. I've really because I was actually wanting to make like a post rotation top 10 list. I had no idea where to look. Like none of the new decks seemed amazing, but they seemed solid. And a lot of good decks are rotating. A lot of good decks are losing major pieces. Like
yeah.
Charizard is like losing. Like Charizard ended up being like pretty near the top of my list,
Mhm.
like 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 top three easily.
Oh,
Um,
for top
Post
decks post
rotation.
rotation.
Yeah, and it's like losing. And that ain't like Badoo's bad for it. It's losing Forest Seal Stone and the V's,
Yeah.
and that seems like bad for for the deck. Like it seems like it should be able to do something. It seems
Yes.
but it seems like it should be getting worse. But I mean, it is getting worse. But it doesn't seem like it's getting that much worse compared to other things. The Hops deck seems like interesting. I think Dragapult's going to be really good post rotation. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think Dragapult's going to be pretty good. The question is, which we don't know, are they going to make more trainers Pokemon or is this it? Right? Because kind of if it's like
Well,
when
they're gonna make more. Oh, for these trainers,
yeah,
because
well,
they're definitely gonna make more trainers Pokemon,
okay. Do we know how
like other
many?
trainers.
Do we know how many more there'll be?
Trainers are like
Trainers,
cards.
not cards, but other trainers they're
We'll
going to do.
get we'll get Marnie. We know we'll get Steven. We know we'll get Rockets. Not exactly sure what that means.
Oh,
If
that's
that's
right.
just Team Rocket or a bunch of different Team Rocket members. Presumably just Team Rocket. And then we're going to be getting I think Misty's like some side deck thing, which I think is like likely Misty. I think it's Ethan, and I don't remember. But like probably. I expect to see like 4 every set. That's what I'm expecting.
Okay, you think
Um,
like every main set this year we might get another batch?
Yeah, I think so. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay, but it'll we'll at least get another four. It'll at least double from what we have now.
Yeah, double. I think it'll at least triple. I'd be pretty. Well, we'll see. But
Okay.
regardless, we'll get more. We'll see if they get like more interesting. They're like cool. I think
Yeah.
like because they interact with each other. They don't all interact with every other card, but they definitely have interactions. Um, they're just not super strong. It doesn't seem like.
Yeah, that's you're right. They're not quite as strong as I would like them to be. Now, assuming they're doing more, usually when they drop something new at first, it's the low end, and then it gets better as they do down the road. So, we'll probably I would expect us to get some set of trainers Pokemon that are pretty strong for the years out. Then,
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's all for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed us discussing the trainers Pokemon and the not trainers Pokemon as well from Battle Partners and enjoying together. And I'm excited for the new set and hope you are too. We're excited to see you in the next episode.
and don't forget, Pokemon Center Lady is coming back. Take care.
Yep.